To Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Chakwadash, double honors to the apostles, elders, the great millstone, rule and teach well. Peace up, salutation to the 11144 first fruit. This lesson is going to be fairly quick, just going on another update of what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, because this war is extremely bloody and it's not getting enough traction or news over here in the States, so I'm giving it here today. All right. But there's a few clips I want to show here, which I have pulled up on Instagram that need to be seen so we can understand, the veracity of this specific war going on right now. Over 2 million people have passed away during this war, military and civilian combined on both sides, over 2 million. More casualties on the Russian side than the Ukrainian side, but of course that goes, you got to consider the person per capita for each side. Of course, Russia has a way bigger population. Matter of fact, let's look that up real quick. Let's look up Russia population. Russian population is about 143.4 million people. Ukraine population is about 32 million people. So when you compare, when you're comparing apples to apples, you got to understand that Russia is significantly larger by 100 million people than Ukraine. So of course their military force is going to be a little bit bigger. But it seems like Russia is having the same issue that America is having going against Iran or Iran. So pretty much what I want to say is it seems like Russia is having an issue with asymmetrical warfare as well, just as much as America is having that issue with Iran. It seems like Ukraine has been preparing for Russia to come in invade for a long while now and understood that. They've probably been preparing since the 90s because they split off from the Soviet or the Russians during the 90s. I think 1990 or 1991, the UN made them a regional space. So they pretty much took that land from Russia, and Russia considered that illegal. So now Russia's trying to occupy that back. This has been a build-up and accumulation since the 90s. And now we're getting full-scale war. Because war, it takes the buildup for it to get actually physical. It looks like they've had so many disagreements until now where it's escalated to a physical invasion of property at this point. But 32 million compared to 140 million is a significant difference when it comes to numbers. So when I show you these numbers that are casualties on the Russian side, take that, what I'm saying right now, into consideration. Okay, take that into consideration. So I'm gonna play this video right here. This is from an individual on Instagram. His name is Kagan.Dunlap. He has some good videos. If you do have an Instagram or any type of social media platform, you should follow this guy. He updates constantly on many different things, but I see a lot of them being the Ukraine war as well. But he does give good updates. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. It looks like Ukraine attacked another wild berries distribution center, which is equivalent to Amazon for Russia. So I'm going to go ahead and play this real quick.
It appears that Ukrainian UAS struck another major wild berries distribution center in Novosimikhino in Samara Oblast, Russia, on the 2nd of August of 2026, which sparked a major fire that engulfed most of the facility, much like the other previous strikes that they've done on wild berries facilities. Now, this complex covers approximately 178,600 square meters and serves as one of wild berries' key hubs in the Volga region of Russia. It handles distribution for the Samara area and neighboring regions, and Ukrainian sources have described it as a primary logistics link between European Russia and the Urals and Siberia. The facility opened relatively recently, too, around May of 2025, maybe just a year ago. Now, so far, Wild Berries confirmed that the attack took place as well as the resulting fire and stated that there were no injuries among the staff. And the Samara regional authorities also acknowledged the UAS strike and fire with efforts to extinguish it currently underway. Meanwhile, the commander of Ukraine's unmanned systems forces publicly publicly confirmed the successful strike and noted that it was part of an ongoing campaign, referring to it as roughly number 10 out of the series of strikes that they've been doing on Wildberries facilities over the past couple of months. I will say one of the strange things I've seen about this is that there's satellite images that came out of this particular Wildberries logistics hub before its destruction, and they had a big giant Russian pro-war Z and V flag like right next to the logistics hub, which is odd that it would be in such close proximity with it.
Okay, so the last part of that, I don't know if I agree or disagree with it. I think I'm neutral on it because it's in Russia and they can post their Russian flag anywhere the fuck they want. Just like in front of every facility, you have an American flag waving across or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter, to be honest with you. So, but what does matter is that this is like the third or fourth facility that Ukraine has struck in the middle of Russia, starting to infiltrate Russian space and territory. How Russia is not picking these off with their S-400 systems, I don't know. But you see what's happening. They're getting deeper and deeper into the in Russian territory. So I have another clip here. It says Russian air defense unit shot down a drone over a crowded beach in Russia, and the UAV crashed into a beach, killing 3 people, including according to local reports. Now, there were some more reports that said it actually killed about 6 to 10 people, injuring 13 more, and about like 3 or 4 of them were children. Even though you can hear them shooting down the actual drone, it doesn't matter. Ukraine sent a drone to Russian civilian populace and killed civilians of Russia. Not to sit here and say that I am backing Russia, but that's what happened because, America's going to make it seem like Ukraine is just this halo over their head country fighting the devils in their horn, Russia. You know what I'm saying? They're always going to create a narrative, with this. But why is a UAV or FPV drone flying over civilian population like that? Just like it's flying over civilian population, hitting Wildberry civilian distribution centers. I'm not saying I'm not on either side. This is just war. It's what you call casualties of war. But it looks like this was a purposeful attack on civilians in Russia. And again, it's getting deep into Russia territory. So this is making the actual war extremely interesting, what's going on. You would think, a lot of people would think that Russia is just like an untouchable state because it's such a big country and it's such a powerful, powerhouse of a country that it's just getting touched by Ukraine like this. But I've done lessons prior to this, like in my last lesson, I even mentioned that Poland sent $125 million in military aid to Ukraine. And I mentioned all the other countries that are backing Ukraine, so it is easy for Ukraine to touch this, and it's not via their own power. So let's play this, and then I'm going to get a script to this.
Huh?
As you see there, the UAV actually crashed into a crowd of people right there, and you can tell that that was a pretty big explosion there, so it definitely caused some casualties for sure. These FPV drones or UAVs, or what they call it in this particular video, are the same drones that take down facilities like this and cause massive outbreaks of fires and things of that nature. So of course this is going to kill whoever it comes in contact with. But as you see, they're on a beach having a jolly ass time. So you already know the scripture I'm about to give. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 1. It says, "But of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." And that's exactly what they're doing. All right, peace and safety, thinking that the Russian, military has everything under control and that it would never touch their populace, and it's kind of crazy because they've done hit 4 or 5 wildberry institutions. And did you not see that big attack that they had on Moscow about a month ago, sending about almost 200 to 500 drones in that area, destroying different oil refineries and things of that nature? Your country's being touched, but yet you're still in the pool or in a golf or something here, having a jolly ass time with your kids. Now your kids are dead because peace and safety. That's what's in your mind. This applies to the entire world, not just America, but it's heavily towards America because of what that is, the unwalled village that the scriptures speak about. And then I have my last one right here, and this is where I said take into consideration the population of Ukraine and also the population of Russia. Take into heavy consideration, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip right now.
Вот и слово закончится, чем мы будем заниматься. То есть настолько увлеклись этим, понимаете, настолько с душой это делают и чувствуют свою причастность к большому, огромному, нужному для России делу, что у них чувство тревоги возникает, а мы будем востребованы, так же, как сейчас.
All right, so I'm going to replay that real quick.
Вот и слово.
As you see, it says in 2022, when this war started, it started in, I think, February of 2022. 106,000 died that year.
Закончится.
And these are Russian soldiers. It's just talking about military casualties.
Чем мы будем заниматься?
2023, 250,000.
Если настолько увлеклись этим,
2024, 430,000.
Настолько с душой это делают и чувствуют свою причастность к большому, огромному.
And so far, in 2025, 418,000.
Нужному для России делу, что.
And so far in 2026, 238,000, 240,000 have died so far. Russian casualties. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this right here. It says Russia has suffered 1.6 million military casualties since launching its full-scale war of aggression against Ukraine, including about 700,000 killed. It says, perfect, let's do this. The word casualty says a person killed or injured in war accident. So casualty doesn't always mean killed. It also means injured as well. So about 700,000 killed. So what it's showing here in each year is, well, that's saying killed. So these are maybe a little bit conflicting, but whatever. It's a big toll. It says the tolls keep climbing each day. Or maybe, no, that's what it says. It says the toll keeps climbing each day, setting new records with July becoming the deadliest month. 2026 so far with 42,000 killed or wounded. It says hundreds of thousands die each year. The number keeps growing. Putin could stop it. Instead, he says he is surprised by questions about Russia. What will Russia do when the war ends? Well, guess what? You can ask these same questions to Trump of why he's in Iran and when will this war end and how it is going to end. But I got an answer for Putin and Trump. Your wars aren't going to end. Putin, you have entered into a forever war because you're not just fighting Ukraine. He knows who he's fighting. He's fighting Poland. He's fighting Denmark. He's fighting the United States. He's fighting all the EU nations. That's who he's fighting because that's who's backing Ukraine. Same thing with Trump, because we already know all those bases over there in the Middle East are getting absolutely pelted by missiles by Iran, and you're not going to sit here and come out with an article saying 17 soldiers have died. There are thousands of Americans dead right now, and there's been thousands of casualties of the United States military right now. It's just not being reported, and that's facts. You're not sitting here telling me that bases over there in the Middle East are just that secure. They're not. Iran has too much intelligence. The public of America, we're not dumb. All right. Well, no, Salakia. Some of us are not dumb. All right. We know what's going on. We know what's going on. So, that's kind of what I want to bring out here today. And it's basically mainly on peace and safety, because you saw these people right here. You see the casualties. You see their, their areas getting touched, but yet they're still having a jolly ass time for their summer. So that's all I have for you here today. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem HaKodash, double honor, city, apostles, elders, great millstone, who rule and teach well. Peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. Until the next time, we'll say shalom, and like always, repent, for Yahweh Shai is coming back soon to do what me and you believed. All right, shalom.